How's it going, everybody? So in this video, I'm going to do my best to get across all of the main points of superhuman nutrition and superhuman living to feel the most motivated, inspired, energetic, become the healthiest, and have the motherfucking most optimized longevity, mental clarity, mental health, all of that good stuff. I'm going to try to get all of these points across. I'm going to try to get all of the most important factors across in a very short amount of time for all of y'all, okay? So hopefully this will be under 20 minutes. I really don't have enough time in my life anymore to be making these hour-long lecture videos. And also, I feel like most of my points I should be able to get across a lot faster anyway. So let's try to do this. So I've been doing like 3-minute videos for Instagram lately. Haven't posted any of them yet because I haven't been satisfied with their content. But screw it. So let's freaking see how this shit goes. All right. So y'all, let me know in the comments if you like this freaking faster, jam-packed video style compared to my normal laid-back, hour-long, just going on in the stream of consciousness, go with the flow type of shit. All right, motherfuckers. So here we fucking go. Goddammit. Superhuman nutrition. What are the most important things that fucking matter? Okay. So we're going to talk about protein. We're going to talk about animal flesh, obviously, but I really want to get across tonic herbs, adaptogens. I want to get across the mental aspect, because most people's lifestyle is not on track. Most people are not focusing on their goals. They're not building friendships, networking, finances, and career kind of aspects that actually fulfill and motivate you, right? So the vast majority of people, okay, whether they're focusing on, like in the health communities, nutrition communities, most of y'all hyperfixate on biohacking, supplementation, nutraceuticals, and things like that. Nootropic supplements. You know, people are like, oh my God, I have anxiety and all this stuff. Should I remove plant foods or not? It's like, motherfucker, you have deeper problems that have nothing to do with plant foods, right? You can optimize the shit out of your diet all you want, but if you are a freaking incel who stays in your damn basement all freaking day and you're not actively trying to improve your dating life, your friendships, your careers and stuff like that, you're never going to be happy. You'll never be able to fully feel the actual extent of how healthy you actually are. This is huge. Once I resolved all my health issues, I realized, oh shit, I spent all of this time focusing on obsessively researching the facts of health science and neglecting the rest of my life. Even though it's interesting, the less, I had girls, I had friends, but I just didn't focus on them as much and didn't enjoy them as much until I started to focus on them. So anyway, let's get into this shit, all right, y'all? So listen, obviously, number one, protein, okay, from whole animal flesh. Y'all already know this shit. 1 to 2 grams per pound of ideal body weight every single day. So I would recommend the higher threshold. 2 grams of protein per pound of ideal body weight every single day. So what that means is if you're 400 pounds and you're extremely overweight, okay, obviously 400 grams of protein is not accurate because you're 400 pounds. You have 250 pounds of extra body fat on your bitch ass. So you need to aim for your ideal body weight. If you're 400 pounds, your ideal body weight is probably somewhere around 180 to 200 grams a day, okay? And also, let me say your body mass index, BMI, is a fallacy, okay? I'm going to make everything simple, not going to go too deep in the weeds. I'm just going to state facts without too much explanation to try to keep this video focused and down, okay? But BMI is bullshit. It's a sham for insurance companies to label the largest amount of humans on the planet into a group to get them insured and label for pricing and disease risk and shit like that, okay? Has nothing to do with your own individual health goals, okay? So BMI is bullshit. Your ideal body weight is probably around 185, 200 fucking pounds, whatever. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be too precise, okay? So anywhere from, 1 gram to 2 grams per pound of ideal body weight. So that's for someone's ideal body weight, 200 pounds or whatever, get 200 to 400 grams of protein, okay? You don't have to be precise. Somewhere in the middle ground's fine, okay? It's a large range, but more is generally better, okay? And I know this not only because I've been in this shit, experiencing with myself and my clients. I've had so many clients get superhuman results. I'm not doubting my program at all anymore, although I'm always questioning it and trying to refine it and tweak it to make it better. I have seen this work for so many people, losing 100 pounds in 12 months, people performing way better with their mental focus and all this stuff in IT businesses. I do health and nutrition consultations for entrepreneurs, people in the tech field, people in investing in real estate and things of that nature. And, especially people in sales, right? Having the energy, the focus, and the ability to communicate with so many people effectively to do their job, they need that mental focus. And so I have seen the results for myself with these clients, right? As well as athletes I've worked with, okay? They've never had a weight cut go better with more energy. Testosterone doesn't tank, all that shit, because they're cutting weight with this kind of animal flesh based paradigm, as well as my adaptogenic tonic herbs, okay, individualized to the specific case, okay, individualized nutrition within the framework of animal based diets and adaptogenic tonic herbs. This is really where the most effective shit lies, okay? People think, oh, everyone's different, so some people, they do better with beans instead of meat. Nah, that's bullshit. You're not a special snowflake to the point where you have to eat like a completely different species, okay? Sure, everyone's freaking metabolism's a little bit different, sure, so you need individualized nutrition, but bitch, that does not fucking mean you need to eat like a fucking cow when you're a human, okay? As much as vegans like to fucking believe that we should eat like fucking gorillas, bitch, our digestive system does not work like a fucking gorilla, goddammit. So fuck that BS. Definitely gonna get demonetized for this. I don't give a fuck, goddammit. All right, motherfuckers, fuck that shit, bitch. I have fucking 2 grams of Korean ginseng extract in my blood right now, and a shit ton of Asian Panax ginseng, American ginseng, caffeine in my motherfucking bloodstream. Know what I mean? Therefore, I'm pumped the fuck up. So fuck it. We're gonna release this video anyway. I don't give a fuck, bitches. This is yeah, whatever, motherfuckers. Anyway, where the fuck was I going with this shit? Oh, that's right. So yeah, obviously human digestive system, protein is almost entirely broken down and turned to mush, liquefied by stomach acid and pepsin, right? From the enzymes produced in your stomach. Proteins completely digest in the stomach and then absorbed in the larger intestine. Whereas plant proteins and plant foods, I mean, let's break this down real quick. Look. Not only you digest the beans, the nuts, the seeds in the intestine, right? Plant proteins move through the stomach almost completely undigested. And then they hit the intestine where it's fermented by bacteria. By that time, a large amount of the protein you would be getting from these plant proteins are questionably, how much of that are you digesting, first of all? Okay, the amount of protein that you see on the nutrition facts from plant proteins is not the amount you're digesting. So yeah, you're only digesting a certain percentage of those plant protein foods first, and then after the beans are fermented by the intestinal bacteria, how much of that protein are you even absorbing? Right, the bioavailability of absorption of that protein is, anywhere from 60% to around 85%, depending on what it is, right? Whereas, animal proteins, even at the lowest absorption, is around 85%. And the vast majority of animal proteins, you're actually digesting those foods long before they ever hit the intestine. So this is why most people, when they switch over from a heavily plant-based protein source diet to an animal-based protein diet, they notice their brain turns on, they notice their recovery is faster, right? It's really because your body doesn't have to work so fucking hard to break down and ferment, all of these humanly undigestible foods, right? We don't produce the firepower of enzymes necessary to optimally break down all these things. That's why typically, You see, people always are like complaining and crying about trying to get rid of lower abdominal fat because they walk around with this pudge on their lower abdomen. It's not fat in your lower abdomen. It's bloating and gas, because that's where your intestine is, and that's where all of the plants are trying to ferment and break down. So when you switch over and you remove most of this fiber and these plant foods, and I'm not an anti-plant food guy at all, I'm just saying, you notice, oh shit, for some reason my lower abdomen is no longer, puffed up. Well, that's because you got rid of the bloating, my boy, my girl, whatever gender you associate with. Anyway, so the antioxidants, endogenous antioxidants. So we have superoxide dismutase, glutathione, you have uric acid, you have melatonin, even carnitine, just to name a few. There's a lot. They're produced inside of your body endogenously from the proteins that you're eating, okay? So the antioxidants, these antioxidants, right? Everyone's so like, oh my God, gotta eat plants for antioxidants. Actually, no. The antioxidants your body actually uses, are created from the amino acids from the protein that you eat. And this is responsible for resolving cellular damage, reactive oxygen species. You can think of it as cellular rust. It is commonly associated with aging, as well as things like cancer, heart disease, you name it, Oxidation is the name of the game. And it's resolved mostly by the endogenous antioxidants, that are created from the amino acids you eat. Now, the thing is, flesh foods, right, like meat, also gives you vitamin B12, as well as a wide variety of other cofactors, other micronutrients, other B vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, which are electrolytes and minerals are basically the same thing. Electrolytes are a class of minerals, and antioxidants like carnitine directly. You're getting all of that combined with the amino acids. Whereas plant foods, you get some cofactors, but you don't get a full scope of all the cofactors necessary, right? And so this is why vegans, and I'm not an anti-vegan, I guess. I don't know. I don't promote that at all. Typically, we'll have to supplement with particularly cofactors you don't get otherwise, right? But with animal flesh, you get 100% of your daily value, even in chronometer, right? With a couple of exceptions like folate, and vitamin B1, depending on where you source your meat. If you're getting, pork, chicken, fish, or red meat, certain vitamins you might not get, but the vast majority of them, if you get 1 gram of protein per pound of lean mass or ideal body weight from whole flesh foods, you'll get potassium, magnesium, all of these things without even needing plant foods yet, which I'm not saying are bad. I'm just saying these are facts I'm spitting. I'm not anti-plant at all. So anyway, you also get the building blocks of collagen. So studies on collagen actually show the amino acids you get from collagen are directly implemented into your connective tissue after consumption. It's a common myth, a common misconception in mainstream medical science. They say your connective tissue cannot rebuild. And so they try to coax you into getting surgery and shit like that if you injure your patella tendon or you injure your MCL or some shit like that, right? But the fact is, proper strength training where you know how to get a stimulus while managing fatigue, and you know how to get just heavy enough with enough reps, stuff like that, right? I'm not going to say any programs, but yes, proper strength training will give you the stimulus needed to repair connective tissue, combined with getting the glycine, which is mostly found in collagenous proteins like collagen, like consuming oxtails and stuff like that. And no, bone broth is not enough. You should be consuming the gelatinous joints and things inside your meat themselves, right? Also, chicken skin, amazing source of collagen. That glycine will help your connective tissue to rebuild itself. But also that glycine that glycine, right? So glycine, not just from chicken skin, but any of these collagenous tissues, is a neurologically active. It is an active in the brain neurotransmitter that actually works on the NMDA receptors and glycine receptors and glutamate receptors to promote relaxation and calming mental health. So I've actually found I've had the best sleep in my life when I'm consuming a large amount of chicken skin from just conventionally raised. I know that's oh no, people are gonna be like, oh, you should never eat conventionally raised chicken, whatever. Conventionally raised chicken quarters, man, I was eating 5 pounds a day for months and eating the chicken skin. And even all the omega-6s people are scared of, I believe the chicken skin is what it was. Gave me relaxation, calm, and sleep that I never had eating beef, which is insane, right? And I truly believe it was simply the chicken skin, the glycine that you're getting, right? Not only that, but also no aches and pains in my joints and connective tissue ever, right? Which, so these are all things to consider. Most people, they think of protein as just the building blocks of muscle, but it's so much more than that, right? So like we said, neurotransmitters, right, for mental health, right? Your motivation from dopamine, you got the melatonin and serotonin working for sleep and lethargy and calming, glycine as well, all of these things, right? Also endocannabinoids and endorphin. You need enough amino acids and protein to help your body to produce those neurotransmitters. Endorphin, endocannabinoids, what else? Oxytocin. These are some of the neurotransmitters involved in satisfaction, pleasure, and love. So yeah, building blocks of your feel-good hormone, your feel-good neurotransmitters, right? Also things like testosterone, right? So people talk about adrenal fatigue. Actually, it's not adrenal fatigue that happens, right? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google search it. Adrenal fatigue, okay? The truth is there's no such thing as your adrenal glands being worn out from too much caffeine and stuff. What happens is when you are thinking thoughts that are stressful or you are in stressful situations, your body takes the cholesterol and the pregnenolone and the building blocks that would normally produce testosterone and also produce dopamine. And it actually converts things like cholesterol, pregnenolone. Your body converts the building blocks of testosterone and the building blocks of dopamine and motivation boosting neurotransmitters, and actually converts it to cortisol instead. So if you look at the cascade of hormones and neurotransmitters for stress as well as testosterone and dopamine, what you'll find is the same building blocks for dopamine, the same building blocks for testosterone also are the building blocks of stress hormones like cortisol, adrenaline, things like that. So this is actually known as pregnenolone steal, okay? Because what's happening is when you're in stressful situations, above and beyond the amount of building blocks you're giving your body to be able to tolerate and adapt to those stressful situations, your body starts to actually convert the building blocks that would otherwise be producing testosterone, anabolic hormones, and dopamine. Instead produces cortisol, adrenaline, and stress hormones, okay, to help tolerate those things. And so you end up with no building blocks left over for testosterone and for dopamine, okay? So then what does that look like symptomology-wise? Low testosterone, low sex drive, low libido, low motivation, feeling exhausted all the time, not being able to sleep, and always feeling anxiety, always feeling strung out and worn out. And this has nothing to do with too much caffeine. This has everything to do with not enough cholesterol, not enough amino acids, and not enough building blocks to build the testosterone and to build the dopamine and stuff. Contrary to popular belief, modern life is not more stressful than ancient times. Ancient times was way more stressful because we always had to deal with like threats of survival and shit like that, right? So it's not so much about modern living or caffeine or anything. Humans have been consuming caffeine and stimulants for thousands of years. The only difference is it was unregulated for a long time. Humans were way more strung out on stimulants in ancient times because of the lack of regulation, okay? So, people that are worried about consuming too much caffeine, people that think that modern living is like more stressful and all this shit, you're completely wrong. The truth is you're just a weak little bitch. That's a fact, okay? Or really it's just ignorance and being naive. It's being naive, not understanding the truth behind it, and being clouded by your emotions. That's a fact, right? And typically when you think from the emotional side of the brain, it's clouding the logical side of the brain. Right? It's generally one or the other. So this is why when you're really, really upset and angry, you do stupid things and regret them later when you're thinking logically, right? And vice versa. So anyway, So I have discussed protein at length in other videos, but that's the gist of it. So another thing about protein is protein has never been shown in studies to convert into body fat. So first of all, this has been tested directly with intervention studies, okay? In human intervention studies, there have been studies where groups of people consume more calories from protein, all right, 500 to even 1,000 calories over their baseline metabolic needs for maintenance of weight. And they did it from protein in one group, and then they did it from a combination of fats and carbs in the other group. And what they found is, in some studies, both groups gained about the same amount of body mass. But the high protein group lost body fat about about 2 kilograms of body fat, while they gained 5 kilograms of lean mass in about 12 weeks. Whereas the other group, they gained about something like 5 kilograms of overall body weight, but it was almost all from body fat and none from lean mass. So the overfeeding protein group, who was eating in a calorie surplus from only protein, gained lean mass and lost body fat. Okay, so the calorie counting people, right? They if you look at the real academics these days, the researchers, they'll admit this. People like Eric Helms from Iron Culture and Mass Research Reviews. He talks about this all the time, and I'm actually certified from his certification in NASM Nutrition Coach certification. That was a great certification. I was surprised. I thought it was going to be a bunch of bullshit and plant-based propaganda, but yeah, so protein overfeeding studies on human interventions, the gold standard, shows unequivocally that if anything, you gain muscle and burn body fat overeating calories from protein, okay? Whereas carbs and fats doesn't do the same thing. And Dr. Mike Israetel, Renaissance Periodization, will tell you otherwise, but I like him and his, what he's got going on. Anyway, but he's wrong. Whatever. So beyond that, there's no mechanism in which protein can actually convert into body fat, right? So metabolically, what happens? You consume protein, especially let's talk about animal protein in particular, because it's a little bit different otherwise, right? Animal protein digests in the stomach, pepsin, stomach acid, hydrochloric acid. Larger peptides are neutralized and broken down into smaller peptides, and the smaller peptides converted into amino acids absorbed in the small intestine. And these individual amino acids that are the byproducts of protein digestion, individual mechanisms for each of them, right? You have, for example, phenylalanine from the protein converts into, L-dopa, or it converts into tyrosine, then L-dopa, and then you have noradrenaline, adrenaline, dopamine, etc. And there's other intermediate steps beyond that, right? But that's one of them. Then, of course, you have, protein digests, breakdown, then you have glutamic acid, then glutamine, and then it can convert into glutamate, GABA, glycine. I believe these are all kind of part of the same cascade. And then also, I believe glutamic acid and glutathione is involved in the cascade combining with methionine and cysteine, which can eventually become homocysteine, and then eventually your main endogenous antioxidant, glutathione, right? So if you look at the cascade and you really research what I'm talking about, what you'll see is there are different cascades for all of the breakdown products of amino acids and protein. And therefore, protein isn't just like, oh, you eat protein and then your body, if you eat too much of it, it automatically converts into body fat. It's so much more nuanced than that. The research doesn't support that in intervention studies. The metabolism of protein doesn't fucking support eating protein converts into body fat. So it's ridiculous, right? These people. All of my clients eat around 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per pound of ideal body weight. Okay, all of my clients that have eaten this way, they have lost insane amounts of body fat in a short amount of time. I've had 19-year-old boy, mom came in looking to lose 60 pounds in 3 months, or no, 40 pounds in 3 months to get him in the Air Force. That boy lost about 60 pounds in 2.5 months. Working with me. So I didn't get as much money because he had to cancel his membership early, and he got a job at the NASA Space Force within like 9 months or so of doing so, something like that, within a year. That was crazy. 60 pounds in under 3 months, right? 2.5 months. 19-year-old kid. Another 19-year-old kid still trains at me, actually, going to train me tomorrow. He lost 100 pounds in 12 months working with me. His mother, she 55-year-old woman, something like that. No, 53-year-old woman. I mean, I've been training with her for like 3 years now. So she lost 100 pounds, 140 pounds in 13 months, actually. So that's crazy, right? And they were all eating like almost exclusively protein, right? They're eating more fats and things like that as well. Don't get me wrong. So yeah, calories are important, but protein is the wild card. Okay, it doesn't work the same way as normal calories. So, I said I was going to freaking make this video short, but goddamn, every time I start talking about protein, I end up just making a whole damn dissertation about it. And I guess that protein is just that important. So maybe instead of me trying to freaking control my video content, I just need to let it go. I don't do freaking outlines. So I guess this is just the way God intended it, right? I don't believe in God, but by the way, I do believe in a source energy. Anyway, let's fucking get this shit on, all right? So, yeah, there's way more about protein, but I think that covers a large amount of it. I didn't even mention, it builds muscle tissue and shit. I don't give a fuck about that. You're more satiated. It has 2 to 3 times the caloric burning effect of other calories, okay? It's a building block of your neurotransmitters, building block of your endogenous antioxidant system. Humans for millions of years have been consuming a mostly animal flesh-based diet. And the only time that they convert over to starches like rices and grains and freaking potatoes and tubers and shit is during times of famine, okay? Also, read the book by Catherine Price. It is called Vitamania. It discusses the history of vitamin deficiencies, when vitamins were discovered, and then how big pharma and motherfucking food industry started trying to capitalize on making money, turning the discovery of vitamins and minerals into a charlatan, money-grabbing, billion-dollar supplement industry. Okay, y'all notice how I don't even talk about any nutraceuticals hardly these days at all. I don't talk about vitamins, minerals, amino acids, none of that as much as I used to. Everything I talk about now is just like meat and tonic herbs, and then the mental aspect, because that is been around for thousands and millions of years, okay, and has been working for society. Kings, queens, warriors, monks been doing this shit for years, okay, for millions of years, and it is the most effective way to fucking do shit, all right? So anyway, motherfuckers, yeah. So let's see, what next? Let's move on, okay? The next most important thing, once you've got the damn animal flesh-based, protein-based diet on check, okay? You're getting all your essential amino acids, you're getting all of your antioxidants from this damn from the cysteine and glutathione amino acids, yada, yada. You're also getting 100% of your daily value of minerals and vitamins and things as well. So next, we have tonic herbs and adaptogens. Tonic herbs and adaptogens, so important, y'all. Highly recommend as a starter. Okay, y'all really want to be on what I'm on? I don't know if you could see this. Cordyceps by Hyperion Herbs, y'all. Discount code, I'll put it down in the description or in the comment section. I'll put it. All right, y'all. If I have not put the damn discount code, my discount code down there, you want to help support me and also get the most elite level tonic herbs I've been taking for years before I ever got a damn discount code like this. Comment in the comments if you don't see it yet, okay? For about 10 to 15% off, okay? So starter pack, cordyceps, ginseng, and mucuna pruriens, okay? Highly recommend that. So tonic herbs are not the same thing as adaptogens. Tonic herbs are a special class of herbs that are classified from Chinese medicine. Read the book by Ron Teagarden, Superior Tonics. Essentially, they are herbs that you take to build your health over time. They should be able, you could take them long term. They're non-toxic, generally speaking, and not only do they help to resolve a lot of health problems, but they help to prevent them as well, while building your general health and mental qualities over time. But typically, tonic herbs can also be classified as adaptogens because they all have adaptogenic properties. They are the original adaptogens. The only difference is, so tonic herbs can be adaptogens, but not all adaptogens are tonic herbs, if that makes sense, right? So things like rhodiola, things like ashwagandha, these are not tonic herbs. They are adaptogens, right? Adaptogenic herbs are... they can be a little bit more dangerous and be more unpredictable in their effects, right? Adaptogenic herbs, they basically are herbs that help your body either perform under high stress or adapt to stress or help your body heal from stress, right? So, for example, things like ashwagandha directly blunts cortisol production. So when you take ashwagandha, very, very popular. I've taken all different forms of ashwagandha. I've taken KSM 66, Shodan extract, Sensorol, and also just a basic root powder. I've taken all different types of ashwagandha over the last freaking 15 years. It is such an unpredictable herb. However, what you'll notice is take a teaspoon of just basic ashwagandha powder, boil it in some hot water for 5 minutes. It'll make you feel so relaxed. You have no stress in the world, no worries. You'll be able to fucking sleep for a whole freaking day. It's amazing. Problem is, it promotes lethargy and makes you kind of have anhedonia, which means a lack of pleasure, a lack of motivation, because you won't care about anything. It completely takes away cortisol. Cortisol is not just a stress hormone that makes you feel stressed. It's also the hormone that makes you get up in the morning. It makes you want to go and do things. And be proactive, right? So things like ashwagandha, if you blunt your cortisol too much, it's counterproductive, okay? So, but it can definitely put you to sleep and just remove anxiety, which is why it's so popular and people use it, because it actually works. You could definitely feel it. But it also can actually increase thyroid hormone after a while. People who have had hypothyroidism clinically have taken ashwagandha with case reports and documentation where they suddenly become clinically hyperthyroid and have a hyperthyroid crisis. So that's terrible, actually. But it can be a therapeutic solution to people with low thyroid. If taken in the short term and taken strategically, it can be a miracle for them, right? But usually those people just need more iodine and tyrosine in their diet, actually. So you could actually get enough tyrosine from eating more animal flesh, and iodine from kelp or just iodized salt is fine. So anyway, the tonic herbs that I recommend that we'll talk about. So cordyceps. Cordyceps, what does it do? It provides, basically it helps your body recycle ATP and energy substrates. Okay, so particularly if you're looking to feel energetic throughout the entire day, if you're looking to double your endurance, you're looking to have extreme mental resilience and physical resilience as well, a combination of cordyceps and ginseng is amazing. So cordyceps, basically improves ATP recycling during anaerobic kind of endurance activities. So we're talking what will be considered lactic endurance or lactic power. So from the 1 minute mark up to around 5 minutes, you're producing a lot of lactate as energy. It doesn't produce soreness. Lactate is actually an energy source, as well as pyruvate and other energy substrates that ultimately result in ATP for energy, right? Cordyceps helps your body recycle the byproducts of that burnt off energy substrates to put it back in the circulation so that you can keep going and going and going, right? So you won't have to be fueling up with carbohydrates as often if you're doing endurance sports, right? That's a common practice, taking carbohydrate gels, because cordyceps helps you recycle the energy you already have. So yeah, it's been shown to be efficacious, as well as in the hour to 2 hour endurance runs. Like cordyceps is extremely popular amongst endurance athletes, right? Also, speaking of endurance athletes, there is an intervention trial out there that I've talked about pretty extensively in another video on cordyceps. There's an intervention trial, I believe it was a 16-week trial in elite level and competitive endurance athletes that were in a competitive training camp for a marathon race, right? And they took a mixture of cordyceps extract and rhodiola, or reishi, not rhodiola, reishi extract and cordyceps extract. And what they found is the group that was taking the cordyceps and reishi combination had a significant improvement in free testosterone to cortisol ratio. Okay, and what that signifies is an improvement in recovery and adaptation from the training camp. So typically, when you are training extensively, especially endurance sports, especially for a competitive race, and remember, they're probably cutting weight as well. So cortisol typically increases the longer that you're in training camp and the longer you're cutting weight. Cortisol should be increasing and testosterone should be going down. But when they were taking a combination of cordyceps and reishi extract, they found that the balance tipped, and they actually had an improvement in the testosterone was staying high, especially relative to cortisol. So that's very significant, especially for elite level endurance athletes, a 16-week trial. And that just shows you the power of cordyceps and tonic herbs and adaptogens as a whole. And especially, if you know about reishi, I have videos about that. You would look those up. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. But reishi is known for easing off cortisol and stuff like that. And cordyceps also tends to improve things like, strength, as well as libido and ambition and drive and motivation and mood, which are all symptoms of free testosterone being optimized. The other thing about cordyceps that probably plays a role is it seems to inhibit prolactin, okay? And most likely because it optimizes dopamine receptors in the dopamine system. Science seems to suggest it does this through improving either the density or the sensitivity of dopamine receptors themselves. And so, if you feel like your dopamine system's burnt out, taking something like cordyceps can help you to improve the sensitivity and the density and the functioning of dopamine receptors as a whole, especially if you take it in combination with mucuna, which is what I do. So you have the increase in dopamine receptor health. Let's just say that, right? Don't want to say specifics. I don't believe in mechanistic jargon to that T. We just need a approximate understanding of what's actually going on. So the health of the dopamine receptors being optimized through the cordyceps. But then if you take the mucuna gives your dopamine system the building blocks, the L-DOPA, to improve dopamine as a whole. And now you have this badass system. Remember, more dopamine, better functioning dopamine also means less prolactin, which typically indirectly results as more free testosterone as well. Especially the symptoms of such. Your libido improves, ambition improves, motivation improves. And ultimately, most people don't give a shit about improving testosterone on a blood test, okay? The amount of people who came to me asking how to boost their testosterone levels with nutrition and herbs who haven't even gotten a damn blood test is staggering, right? You could have symptoms of low testosterone without actually having low testosterone or low free testosterone. And that's because there's a lot more to all this shit than just the blood test levels of testosterone, okay? Anyway, I can assure you, taking cordyceps combined with ginseng and mucuna, like I've been doing for almost 3 years now, straight, without stopping. Oh my God, combined with the damn Superhuman Nutrition Program, if you individualize it to suit your needs, oh Lord, you will feel like a whole nother person. It has been life-changing, not just for myself, but also my clients. Ginseng, the main thing is, so I take a wide variety of different ginsengs. I'll be making individual videos on that, but I'll just briefly touch on this. Essentially, improving endurance, mental endurance, combined with especially under sleep deprivation. This has been studied. Research seems to support this. Helping to keep a healthy, optimized level of anabolic hormone, especially DHT and testosterone. And improves dopamine function significantly, helps to optimize really noradrenaline, so noradrenaline or norepinephrine and dopamine, and free testosterone and DHT, in that kind of cascade of things. Generally keeping prolactin low is a big thing that ginseng tends to do. And allowing you to perform at high levels at all times, even when you are high on stress and low on sleep. Although it doesn't hinder sleep. I've had times where I've literally taken a high dose of Panax red ginseng, American ginseng, and Korean red ginseng extract all at the same time, and right before bed, and I actually was able to sleep for like hours. So, people who say ginseng ruins sleep, I think it's a misunderstanding of how it works, but that's also why you got to individualize it. The thing about ginseng that I'll say, though, is it has very potent anti-glycemic properties. If you have diabetes and blood sugar problems, taking ginseng can help bring the hemoglobin A1C down. But people who already have a healthy metabolism or are prone to hypoglycemia, you're going to want to take a large bolus of carbohydrate with it. Now, some people will be kind of skeptical about this, but this is why it's traditionally been consumed with honey. Okay, usually bee pollen, propolis, ginseng, and honey have been taken together for years as a general energy and health tonic, and I think that that's a big reason why. So I do take a large amount of very high quality, local honey with my ginseng. I take massive quantities of ginseng, okay? And then I go and train hardcore immediately after for hours, so... yeah, if you're looking to freaking have energy for hours and hours and hours and be mentally sharp, being on point, being able to smash opponents in athletic sport, doing a physical job or a highly mentally fatiguing job, ginseng and cordyceps, especially with mucuna, oh my God, that is a ticket. But I have lots of videos on ginseng already, so there's that. The next thing on this list, okay? And I'm just going to say it outright. Again, I'm not an anti-plant guy. I consume certain types of plants sometimes, and a lot of my clients do as well. But the main thing that we need to understand about plants is you are not doing yourself a favor by consuming broccoli in your diet, plants as a whole. There's nothing magical. There's no health benefits of consuming broccoli or consuming leaves in your, green leaves and spinach and shit in your diet, or even opting for like sweet potatoes necessarily over white rice. I mean, there actually is a benefit to sweet potatoes, but that's a different story. But it's nothing magical, right? So a lot of these people, like if you've ever read the book How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger, first of all, is that not an extremist fucking title, right? How Not to Die. Like, bitch, you are going to fucking die eventually, whether you eat Michael Greger's fucking dirty dozen foods or whatever, plant foods or not, okay? But basically, Dr. Michael Greger has a book, How Not to Die. I read the whole thing front to back, even though I'm not fucking vegan. I know veganism like the back of my hand, way better than most vegans do. I have literally debated vegan doctors, okay, vegan nutritionists who have master's degree in dietetics about veganism, and they were making claims to some of their clients, saying things like dairy causes cancer. And I asked them, okay, can you please just tell me a couple of the main studies that you're basing your opinion on? And they couldn't name any of the prominent vegan studies that back their claim, whereas I could back their argument with scientific evidence more than the vegan doctor could, or vegan dietitian. So anyway, How Not to Die by Michael Greger. And I was vegan for years. Y'all got to remember, I was heavily plant-based, mostly vegan for 6 years. I was exclusively vegan for 2 years. Almost killed me. So anyway, and I've had vegan clients that I helped successfully be vegan for a while. So anyway, How Not to Die by Dr. Michael Greger. What does the book say? It is basically just a compilation of claims on plant foods blown out of proportion, where they take intervention studies that show a insignificantly boosted improvement in health factors from certain plant foods. Things like, if you eat just a handful of almonds a day, did you know that you can decrease your risk of heart disease by up to 85% or whatever? Never have heart disease ever again if you eat a handful of almonds. And then you read the study design, and it's like a 0.8% improvement in health outcomes in actual life, which is virtually meaningless, right? Anyway, I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, that's right. The vast majority of the science on plant foods is completely based on correlation studies that can be completely explained by healthy user bias. Essentially, the more aware we are of the health consequences of the foods we eat, and the more we intend to be healthy, the better our health is going to be in these studies, okay? So I have videos explaining the difference between correlation and causation. Look through my playlists. I should have videos on plant foods and shit with timestamps explaining this phenomena. But essentially, there are no solid evidence. There's no actual intervention studies that show anything about improving your actual health outcomes for things like heart disease, diabetes risk, and things like that from eating more plant foods in your diet. What will help to improve your risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, okay? Even cancer. What is going to improve your actual blood results on a blood test when you go to your doctor? I'll tell you what. Targeting your carbohydrate intake to match your health goals, okay? So if you optimize your glycemic response through restricted carbohydrate nutrition and eating enough protein, what's going to happen? Your triglyceride levels, blood fats, will go down below 80 milligrams per deciliter. Your blood pressure will be in the healthy range, 120 over 80, somewhere within there. Your hemoglobin A1C will be, below like a 5.0 or whatever after a while. It all has to just do with the type of carbs you're eating and the amount of carbs you're eating versus exercise combined with the amount of protein you're eating. Because protein also improves glucagon. Glucagon is a hormone that is stimulated from protein consumption that actually blunts the unhealthy ebbs and flows and the unhealthy dips and increases in insulin production, okay? It promotes healthy insulin sensitivity, okay? Glucagon blunts that crazy spike in insulin from high-carb foods. So eating more protein and eating less carbohydrates, depending on your health goals and your current level of glycemic health, that is all that fucking matters, generally, for most of this shit. It's more nuanced than that, yes, but eating more fucking plant foods don't do shit. I'll tell you the only thing that eating more plant foods will do, it'll displace refined foods. If you fill your stomach up till you're bloated like a fucking balloon with salads and fucking broccoli and shit like that, you're less likely to overeat rice and less likely to overeat sugar. But you could still drink some sodas and chug some sodas on top of that salad, right? But the point is, most of the studies that show eating more plants means better health and less disease, typically all it's reflecting on is people eat more plant foods tend to eat less junk food. And that's been studied. The UK, there's been several food consumption observational studies like the UK Shopper study, right? A health food store study where they actually found people who eat, the people that shop at places like Whole Foods, Sprouts, natural grocers, at these health foods, right? These people tend to be healthy. And they're eating more meat and less plants are just as fucking healthy over the long term as people who eat more plant foods. It's not the plant foods, it's the intention behind people who already eat the high plant foods. So when you actually look at the studies on plants, you have like polyphenol studies. Over the long term, the research shows people who take polyphenol supplements and antioxidant supplements, things like beta-carotene and shit like that as well, isolated these antioxidants and polyphenols from plants. There's been a whole controversy in the longevity research communities where, studies on resveratrol, for example, they actually show significant decrease in anabolic hormones like testosterone, increase in estrogen, as well as increased risk of cancer, particularly lung cancer in beta-carotene groups. So pretty much all of these polyphenols and antioxidants that people have been so obsessed with over the last several decades, eventually the research shows they're more likely to cause harm rather than improve your health. In whole food form, sure, you'll be healthier, but it's not the antioxidants that are making people healthy. It's the fact that they are intending to be healthy, and that's why they're eating more plants in these research. I have videos explaining this in depth, okay, more clearer. But understand healthy user bias and understand what a nonconformist is in research, okay, in health research. But also, fiber. Like there's been studies, intervention trials that actually have shown removing polyphenols from the diet in a dose-dependent response, actually removing plant foods, not polyphenols, plant foods, doing a plant food deprivation study over several weeks, accidentally showed an increase in antioxidant status from removing plants. And this is because when you're eating a lot of plant-sourced polyphenols or polyphenols in general, it's actually hormesis, is a hormetic effect, harms the body at a low level, but causes the body to upregulate its defenses over time. It's giving your antioxidant system a workout, essentially, to make it stronger. So it's a long-winded way of saying you shouldn't be intending to eat a shit ton of vegetables to improve your health. If you want to improve your health, what you need to focus on is eating enough protein from animal flesh, taking tonic herbs, and then also doing exercise. But then if you're going to eat plant foods, eat the ones that you can tolerate, okay? Because a lot of people are intolerant to these plant foods. I've explained this in detail in other videos. Essentially, certain molecules from plant foods can actually trigger an immune response that creates autoimmune conditions like fibromyalgia, lupus, what else? Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome. The list goes on and on and on, even colitis. There's a whole scope of different diseases and different mechanisms as to how this is the case. What matters for practical application is that you find the foods that work for you, okay? For me and my clients, we generally eat a minimal amount of plant foods outside of taste. It can get boring just eating only meat. They'll eat broccoli, carrots, cauliflower, fruits. If you're on a carbohydrate-based metabolism, you could eat fruits, honey, even white rice. Some people tolerate sweet potatoes and brown rice. It is what it is, especially if you sprout it and ferment it and soak it. But there's a lot of nuance behind that. I'm not against carbs, and I eat a lot of carbs, mostly from honey and white rice generally. My clients, some of them eat a lot of fruit, bananas, berries, shit like that. It just depends on the individual case. But the most important thing is not looking at plants as magic outside of tonic herbs and medicinal plants, but looking at them as kind of like, they have a wide variety of different effects depending on what you're eating in the person. You're not going to win a gold medal or improve your health outcomes by eating a pound of broccoli a day. It just doesn't happen. It's all about the protein intake. It's about metabolic health. So, with all that being said, you got to individualize your plant intake to you, okay? And generally that means a lot of foods you thought were healthy before might actually be creating bloating, stomach pains, all that. Stomach pains will be completely gone eating this way. That's a huge thing. It's funny to me. I forgot people even have stomach pains. I haven't had them in years because I haven't been eating the fibrous foods and shit that causes stomach cramps, right? And when I hear people talk like, oh, I got stomach pain, wow, I probably ate something bad. I'm like, bitch, you probably ate some too much fiber, you damn cow. Probably eating like a fucking cow, motherfucker. Anyway, so let's get into the next parts. So fitness and, training, that's super important. What about life goals, stuff like that? Super important. I think I'll have to maybe make a part 2 because I'm running out of time. And I told myself I wasn't going to make this video so long, but goddamn, I have like no time for this now. That really It sucks, but whatever. I'll kind of let you all off with this. For fitness and training, I highly recommend a performance-based training approach where you're hitting PRs and working on getting stronger, getting faster, and improving your endurance. I don't think people should be training to look better, because getting shredded abs is unhealthy, but losing body fat, improving muscle mass, and looking more attractive is a direct side effect of improving performance and big time compound lifts combined with the nutrition principles. Honestly, just eating the nutrition principles alone that I mentioned will make you look as attractive as you desire in the mirror for your own genetics. But if you combine that with a basic strength training program focused on getting stronger, as well as a little bit of endurance training and stuff like that, you're going to already look fit, healthy, and extremely sexy and attractive, okay? Just by following the nutrition advice combined with a little bit of strength training and endurance training. You don't need to be doing bodybuilding. You don't need a specific program to get toned. That's actually a myth. There's no such thing as being toned, okay? So performance. The thing is, performance is not only going to help you look sexy, training for strength and getting stronger in performance is also going to make you motivated to hit the gym. The number one reason people don't hit the gym is because they're not motivated. What's going to make you motivated is seeing direct improvements in those numbers going up, first of all. And second of all, feeling healthier and more able, being able to carry boxes. Like I have girlfriends, girl clients, a lot of female clients, old lady clients, right? Winning marathon races just randomly because they just decided, fuck it, I might as well join a marathon with my son or whatever, and beating everyone else in the marathon without even training for it, just because they did basic strength and endurance training. Just walking every day and doing strength training made them beat all the other people, and then having all superhuman nutrition and supplement help probably too, herbs and shit, tonic herbs. But seeing what your body's capable of will keep you coming back to the damn gym, and also make you feel more in love with life, feeling more motivated, okay? Every time you go into the gym knowing like, oh, what I'm doing here is going to improve my bone mineral density, it's going to improve the strength of my connective tissue, and my knees are going to get better, right? Which are the main factors for longevity. Past the age of 65, antioxidant status is huge, right? Warding off the cellular damage, right, from all the protein you're eating, but also improving bone mineral density, preventing hip fractures and shit like that, being able to do all your daily duties, walk back and forth to the car, walking up and down stairs, moving furniture around when you're 90 years old. That's all possible if you do a proper strength training program, right? But yeah, I'm just going to give a basic recommendation. Someone who's just getting started, read the book Power to the People by Pavel, Pavel. That is the most basic book you can read that just gives it to you raw, but they make it all sound Russian and political. Just that was like their gimmick. But if you follow the program and you understand to leave reps in the tank and not to be straining against the weights, but to lift heavy enough with the basic barbell movements, that'll give you the framework in which even elite level powerlifters use these days, but just a basic framework for the average everyday person trying to be healthy and improve longevity. That book will do it. Okay, Power to the People by Pavel. But a better fucking in-depth book on this subject would be Squat Every Day by Matthew Perryman. That book only comes in a Kindle edition. It's only like $7 on the Kindle store. I highly recommend getting that book, Squat Every Day, and reading that whole book, okay? It talks a lot about strength sports and powerlifting, but you have to understand it goes into resolving knee issues and pains, chronic aches and pains by lifting heavy every day. This is the most important thing for overcoming the fragile mindset that actually gets people hurt. What gets people hurt is not understanding. Your body responds and adapts to the stimulus placed upon it, okay? So people think that, oh, I'm too old to lift heavy, or, oh, I don't want to deadlift, it's going to hurt my back. You need to be lifting heavy enough with enough sets and reps and volume without going too hard to kill yourself, okay? And so that book gives you the underlying framework and deep philosophical and scientific understanding to be able to achieve that. So anyway, But the best thing for someone who's just getting started to understand this is for me to make a video on it. So when I have time, I'll make a video explaining in deep detail how to train strength for longevity, health, and performance, as well as endurance and stuff. Because I've been a trainer for like 13 years now, and that's been the majority of my client base. People trying to get strong, healthy, look sexy, improve their blood markers and their health and their longevity, and having energy to play with their kids and do all that other good stuff, right, as parents. So beyond that mindset, I'll make a whole nother video, okay? The biggest thing, okay? The really big thing that matters is everyone focuses too much on shit that they don't care about, okay? The number one thing, focus on what's important to you. First, you got to identify what is important to me. What do I want in my life? I want happiness. I want easygoing relationships. I want love. I want connection. I want a lot of good money. I want to work limited hours but make as much money as I can in those limited hours. I want to enjoy my life and make enough money to support my life enjoyment. That's what I want. Maybe you want a nice car, a nice house, maybe you want a good career, okay? But you identify all the things that you want in your life, and that is what's important to you, okay? And then you need to understand that outside of that, nothing else matters. I'm sorry. This hurts a lot of people because people tie their whole identity to crap that really doesn't fucking matter for their happiness and success, but that's why you're not happy, okay? It's so easy for me to not care about what people think. It's so easy for me to not have anxiety whenever I walk into a room. It's just easy for me to not have too much negative feelings about my life when I keep things simplified down to what is only important to me, right? Caring about other people is important, obviously, but there's a cutoff point in which you got to kind of relax, okay? And so anyway, that cutoff point is where it's harming the things that are important to you more than the things that are not. So, things like the news, politics, current events, things like, how much people care about you on social media, getting validation from other people, that may play a small role, trying to market yourself and shit, right? But I truly believe if you maximize what is important to me, what I really want to achieve, I want to be an athlete, want to win gold medals, want to win accolades, want to, become a millionaire at some point, make a certain amount of money every fucking month, doing things that are enriching my soul and not taking too much from me. You know what I mean? Where I can live my lifestyle to the maximum, but still make a lot of money within those times that I work. And being able to build my athletic career, have friendships that matter to me, all that stuff, right? Whenever you go into a social situation, you're no longer worrying about shit that stresses you. Instead, you're like, okay, what value can I extract from this circumstance, right? The career opportunity, the job interview stuff, right? If people are acting negative to you in a certain way, the way to kind of resolve that is ask yourself, okay, what value can I extract from this negativity? And if the answer is nothing, then you fucking disregard it, right? A lot of times people will criticize you and people wrongfully assume, oh, that criticism, right? That's negativity. I don't need that in my life. But actually, this is a kind of oxymoron in a sense where, I've gotten the most amazing life paradigms when I listen to the criticism people give me, right? I ask myself, like, how can I use this to get the things I want in my life, right? So people will tell me things like, what's a good example? Like, hey man, you talk way too much when you're talking to clients. You need to listen more, right? I know you're just trying to give people all this information stuff, but in regards to helping other people, you need to hear them out, hear how they're feeling, and then try to interact more with their emotions rather than just giving them all this information and logic, right? Some people go, oh, this is my approach. This is just the way that I work with people. If they don't like it, then screw them. But that's not helping you build your business, right? Instead, like as a personal trainer, for example, this is one example in my experience, because people know on my YouTube channel, I'm just full of information. I'm an encyclopedia, and that's actually a good thing that gets me, a lot of clients and people want to train with me and want to learn from me. But that doesn't matter if people can't connect. And also, I can't give people accurate information if I don't listen enough, right? So a big thing with me was taking that criticism from managers that really studied me enough to give me good criticism. Because a lot of people give you criticism that is a reflection of their own problems and insecurities, right? They're projecting onto you bullshit. But when you get real good criticism, even if it hurts, right? Like, bro, you just need to chill the fuck out a little bit and listen to them, right? Listen, do it, taking that criticism, reflecting on it, and then applying it in a way to maximize the things that are important to you is key. Relationships are a big one. Like, I've been in really like 3 long-term relationships in my life, and I take long periods of time where I'm single in between, so I can really make sure that I don't make the same mistakes again next time. Even though, whatever. Criticism from those girls, like a lot of guys, they have this weird ego problem. Like, oh, like girls don't know anything. Like, bro, you need to chill the fuck out. If you can really reflect on the sub-communications and where the girl's coming from and her intentions when she's giving you these criticisms, like you will get the most life transforming criticisms from people like ex-girlfriends that you were with for a long time. As well as like, even your mother and your dad and stuff like that. Oftentimes mothers and dads, they actually give you harmful advice very often. But because they can only give you advice from their own experiences reflected by the extent of their own successes in that advice given. Like if your parents have only had like one relationship in their life and it ended in divorce, you might not want to get relationship advice from them. No matter how many girls your dad claims to have had sex with, he probably wasn't as much of a ladies' man as he's trying to make you sound. You know what I mean? So maybe don't get advice from him. But anyway, criticism. Take it. Take it. Do your best. Even criticism that hurts you or that you think is bullshit, I always try to reflect on it. And that's how I'm able to not give a fuck if someone gives me stupid criticism, right? So I don't want to get into too much detail, but I've had people give me criticism and tell me crazy shit like, Wolfgang, you know too much. You're too intellectual. You're informing them too much. And maybe I just didn't understand what they meant, right? Or you need to just not talk about science at all. That was something I've read. You need to not teach these people deadlifts. You're going to make them hurt. It's funny because for years, all of my clients, literally the first session, you could ask anyone who's ever done a free session with me or a first session with me, I teach them deadlifts the first day. And I've all of my clients, if you ask the ones that lost like 100 pounds in like a year, lost 60 pounds in 3 months, stuff like that, they did that shit through deadlifting almost 3 times a fucking week, my boy. So I know for a fact when people criticize me on shit like that, oh, deadlifts are horrible. You shouldn't teach them deadlifts. If you do, teach them deadlifts like 5 months later. Like, oh my God. You have no idea what you're talking about or who you're talking to. So I'm able to easily like not give a fuck about that shit, right? But yeah. But I honestly reflecting on like, the logic and intentions behind criticism is important, right? But yeah, always reflecting on life, reflecting on your experiences, reflecting honestly on what do I want in my life, and then when you have mistakes, right? Or anytime you experience negative emotion, like what's actually important? What is this in alignment with the things I want? Is worrying about freaking, the crazy like political like news or whatever, is it going to help me or harm me? What can I do about it that's proactive? The price of housing, the price of food, like, it's crying about it going to help? Probably not. What about making more money? There's always ways of making more money, but just people choose to be victims. Okay. You got to have an empowering mindset and really just do your best to do the best you can with the situations given to you, okay? And you can if you have the right mind. So anyway, best books you can read on this subject are going to be Joseph Murphy, Power of the Subconscious Mind. When you start to think like this, or even the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, even though he's been exposed, lots of multimillionaire, billionaires, successful people, athletes, all sorts of these people have sworn by that book, Think and Grow Rich, even though he's been exposed as a charlatan. The principles work, and the way it works is when you start to think this way and follow the guidelines from these books, no matter if you believe it's magic or the reticular activating system, the prefrontal cortex, a real function of the brain, the subconscious mind, you're priming your mind to start to look for these things that you're thinking about. So when you think a certain way every single day, let's just say affirmations or prayers, when you affirm to yourself every day what your goals are and what's important to you, or you affirm every day what you want to achieve or who you want to be or what you want to be or what you want to do, or even if you just say, oh, I hate this or I hate that, or oh, I love this or I love that, what it's doing is priming your mind to seek these things out, to reaffirm and reinforce those beliefs and those thoughts. It really is a good way to test this. Okay, so if you go out on the street, so there's a game that that parents often play on long road trips, right? Where basically you'll go on a road trip and you say, okay, everyone, point out all of the things you see on the road that are the color green, right? If you repeat in your brain over and over again, green, 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 you're going to start to notice all the colors that are green in your environment. But if you start to repeat yourself, red, 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 you start to notice red in your environment. The more that you think about a certain thing, the more your brain starts to filter that out. It is the filter. And that is a survival mechanism that was meant to help reinforce survival over time, as well as finding food and pointing out threats and stuff like that. If a freaking a dangerous fucking dinosaur or saber-toothed tiger is chasing you in the wild, you're going to hide in a cave. You need a mechanism in which you can scout it out, make sure it's not hiding, going to jump out and kill you, okay? And that's part of the mechanism. Conversely, if you are looking for food out in the wild, you need a mechanism that helps you go and reaffirm all of the different areas that are food, you know what I mean, to help you survive. So this is a multifaceted process, but within this example given in survival, when you're out in the wild and you're repeating yourself, apple, 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 right, apple, apple, not only does your brain start to filter out where are the apples in this forest that I'm in or in this environment, but it also starts to reinforce patterns in your brain, neural pathways, to remember in the future where this apple is anytime you're in this environment, and also anytime you're in an environment like this where you can find apples easier next time. Okay, this is neuroplasticity. Okay, that's what that is. And that's how affirmations work. It's greasing the neural pathways, greasing the groove. Okay, and greasing the groove is also the concept that explains the strength training program I talked about in that book, Power of the People by Pavel. Okay, what people need to understand, all of my philosophies tie into each other. Okay, they're very solid in their logic and philosophy. It's just way outside the mainstream, so a lot of people have trouble at first understanding it. But when you do all this shit, you're like, whoa, why is my life suddenly the best it's ever been? It's because you found the 20% of methods that yield you 80% of the results. You found the winning methods, right? And then you start to care less about shit that doesn't matter, because you're like, well, most people suck, and this is probably why they don't understand these things, right? Let's see. So that's affirmations, the power of the subconscious mind, and neural pathways. Okay. So criticism, reflect on your mistakes, sure, but also you must affirm what's important to you every single day, and have large goals. Okay, a process of mastery. I recommend, so a process of mastery, that can be in projects you're working on that have checkpoints, right? So here's an example, a martial art, and I do recommend everyone have some kind of martial art like this, okay? But anything that follows a similar pattern to this, but here's basically an example. So let's say jiu-jitsu, right? Jiu-jitsu, a martial art. Or even karate, right? Similar thing, right? But here's an example. Process of mastery, jiu-jitsu. You have skills that you learn, basic skills and positions, and you're able to test them every single day against another human through sparring. You have an artistic dance where you're able to apply skills and express yourself uniquely. Everyone has different techniques, right, that they use, a different style, and you're able to apply them successfully or unsuccessfully versus a resisting opponent. And then your progress is marked by how many people do I submit, how many people do I do these techniques successfully on, and then eventually you get promoted to blue belt. purple belt, brown belt, black belt. So you have checkpoints along the way to where you can look forward to, you're motivated to achieve, and also you get a sense of fulfillment, a sense of self-development. You learn discipline, you learn physical and mental resilience through this, and you have something to apply your mind and creativity to when you would otherwise be binge watching reels and videos on cat videos and stupid shit like that, and drama videos and just unnecessary mental noise. Instead, you can be looking at technique videos, how to get better at jiu-jitsu, right? Do tournaments where you compete with other people. You can network with other people at these tournaments, and you have a social group in jiu-jitsu classes. And it's all surrounded about improving your techniques, improving yourself through jiu-jitsu, and improving your jiu-jitsu and getting to the next level and becoming a better person. You could also make money from this, getting sponsorships, making videos that you can monetize, your jiu-jitsu highlights. You're inspiring other people through your jiu-jitsu journey. You also